Oh, man. Hello. Pisces, hello. You know, water seasons are up and down. You know that they can be different than maybe you were hoping, than maybe you were wishing, maybe that you have expected or not expected. I don't know how you're coming into the season, but this season starts off in the heart for you. For some of you, it's clearing this cloud that has been there for a while. And here we come in with a cloud with a coin, right? We have some clouds up here. Then we have in here. So you might be coming in with a storm, internal storm. Something that Gemini season struck a chord with. And then entering Cancer season, sometimes we don't realize those things are exactly the vulnerability we need to receive. Sometimes what each water sign teaches us, but especially Cancer, is that in order to move on or to move forward, or in order to expand like the lungs, I keep rocking this, you must clear the emotions. You understand that, but you tend to be more emotional because being mutable water, it's a little different. It's not as intentional all the time. You're not always a very intentional person. You can be fun-loving, you can be emotional, you can feel things and you don't realize why or what you're feeling. And Cancers are that way too, but they have somewhat of a direction, they have somewhat of a filter. Not saying that you don't, that's not what I'm saying. There just comes a time where you have to see and take things for what they are. You realize that this approach has led you and has been led a lot slower than you've expected, or a lot different. Things are coming to you quicker, and even though you just had maybe an emotional upheaval or a change, a shift, a change of heart, Pisces is what I'm going to call this reading. You possibly had a change of heart. A change of and taste upon what fortune means to you and having good fortune. What the balance is. What you've been making for a while and kind of going back and forth about for a while, perhaps. Some of you, it became clearer last week why you had been closed off to something specific, and really it's when you're closed off to your own gratitude and seeing what's right in front of you. Really, it's not that you just water and you can consume more, it's understanding where the power is in it all. What water is capable of is so much stronger than we realize. But then when we take Cancer season and there's all of these things moving and you don't know which way it's going, but there is a direction. There is a lot of intuition and a lot of more freedom than most are used to. Even though Cancer is under a set of rules of their own, there's so much more freedom in power, in the intuition, in the mind's eye, in the knowing, in the digestion of it all. And this season you may feel ungrounded, but the wheel continues to go. The more freedom you give yourself, the more you choose to completely experience the season for what it is and for what it brought right to you. See how it goes up and down, and it's so choppy. This season is choppy for you. I might even call it that. Who knows? It's very clear to you, perhaps, that the way forward is to acknowledge and have a deeper underlying acceptance that this is a continuum. This is something you're going to constantly see throughout the cycles in your life, perhaps. And what could have broken your heart could have also set you free. And I know that that's a cliche thing, but I think it's very clear here that you see very clearly what wasn't giving except for potential. And now you need a foundation wherever it was lacked. You need to trust that that's where the momentum of fortune comes from, where you learn to wade, put one foot in, yet be so thoughtful about how you are on the land as well. That things will clear up, but you have to give yourself space this month. Like, trust Cancer season's process. Trust that it's giving you what you need, even if it's something that it's hard to hear sometimes. But that's why they went out right out the gate with you, because you know you're not a big fan of surprises, and this season is full of them and can be very magical in that way, as your season can be. Any water season, any season, but especially the water seasons. There's this change of heart that begins to unwind and reveal itself through how you decide and choose to maneuver this in and out of the self this month. You will be asked, probably by others, to help them, and you must find the courage to stop whatever isn't aligned anymore and say no. You might not even be able to give a excuse. You might have to just really own the fact that you can't do what maybe is expected of you or asked of you in this time, and knowing that it's okay, that really you're waking up to the part of yourself that this season is uncovering, that the beginning is uncovering, and the trust and the process and what you really want, what you're being encouraged to go for at this time, what you're being shown, what probably the 14th of June started to reveal to you after that full moon. A little more lighter, but it also shows you where the density holds weight. And this season is nothing but dense, or anything. If it's anything, it's dense. Mars will move into Taurus on the 5th, and you become very quickly clear about some things. Maybe even you want to direct that energy and direct words in a certain way. Maybe a sense of discipline, a realization about a boundary and how much you really do have, and how fortuitous this month really is. So before you say anything too quick that you might regret later, there seems to be reason and transformation behind it. The clouds are coming out of nowhere, offering you money, security, love, but it's asking you to take a risk in yourself, and understanding that whatever is left to grieve, this season will bring it to your attention. Then offer you the ability to either celebrate that or fight yourself. And who wants to fight a Cancer in Cancer season? It's actually a chance to become free of any emotional instability that you may have been feeling for a while. This is actually the time where, weirdly enough, you get to the end and you realize how important it is for you to be so secure with what you are capable of. So completely clear that no matter who comes up against you in times of doubt, you know that it's just a passing moment, that's just a passing wave. That there's something so secure in you, and if there's a Taurus in your life, they help you understand this. Whether or not you're close to them, their impression, their change, who they are now, is completely altered in your mind. So maybe you could also see that as long as you're looking up, as long as you're noticing where you're going, that the things that need more attention will ultimately be left behind. They'll be put into the cups moving forward. And there are cups that might revive. There might be something that you put down or something put on hold that's now reviving itself. But you have to remember how much that might have impacted the way that you feel, the energy that you carry. And there's a part of you that's no longer willing to fight this. You want to be free of it. And you may choose to be free of it, and that's actually suggested here. That you've done this one too many times, and if you continue to do it, yeah, you can. But now that it's revived, why? Why would you want to go back down the same road? I don't think you will, but I'd, ultimately have to ask you the questions, or that's what comes to mind, The one thing about Pisces is that you're never truly amazed unless it's something that you learned for yourself. You may overlook things if you haven't gone through it or experienced it yet, because you've experienced a lot. But have you processed? That's what this Cancer season is going to ask you, is have you processed? By the end, you'll know if these cups turn up or if you're choosing to fight with it. And it's a good time to set it free, because this is the month to set things free if you have not yet. Why? Because it's already harder to let go this season, but you don't want to do it in a way that's going to make a scene for no reason, do you? And maybe you do, so go ahead and make the scene. But either way, you're still going to have to come up against yourself and up against your past, up against what you're willing to redeem and what's no longer redeemable. What has expired, Pisces? And this month will show you what's gone bad and what is actually good, and what is alive enough to continue, what fruits that you bear. Also be careful if you do not want to get pregnant. For some of you, if you are getting pregnant, you'll have discussion. There'll be much to decide there. But for everything else, it's not about keeping your cool as much as it is to be very introspective with yourself. Notice what comes up when an emotional moment has happened. It's not something you don't know, but you may not realize what comes with it and the responsibilities that are coming along with all of this fertility. Fertile ground is going to be great for you, but you can't control it. And it's not going to shift everything. It's going to ask you to take a look at things. It's going to ask you where you value and what are your values. And maybe during the middle of the month, it might be harder than the rest. So start those routines if you haven't. Listen to that music. You may not want to plan anything just yet, but if you do, something that makes you feel. That's all. Change of heart. And Leo season, the season of heart, is next. Okay, Pisces? I will see you then. Don't be afraid to wield the sword. Don't be afraid to let go. Because then what's the point?